Yo, what's up, guys? The Theinsanegamefreak here to talk to you guys about Samurai Jack revival stuff. So for all intents and purposes, we found out yesterday, and it's 6 o'clock in the morning. So if I look half dead, that's why. That Samurai Jack is coming back in 2016. Now, the visual we see is a coup in the background, and a lot of people assume that's Jack in the armor. I would argue that that's probably his father. Only because I think we've only seen Jack in armor a few times, and the armor looks like his dad's armor. But that's just me speculating. This video is more going to be talking about just the insanity that this is back, mixed with like what things I want to stay true and not change. I'll be honest with you. The only reason why people aren't negatively reacting to this is because two reasons. One, the original Samurai Jack got canceled, so it never even had a proper ending. It just fucking ended. You could tell because the last episode was like a filler episode. It's if I remember right, the last episode was called Jack and the Baby, which really didn't feel like a last episode because it wasn't supposed to be. It just got canceled and it ended up becoming the last episode. So that's the first reason why people aren't pissed. The second reason why people aren't pissed about this is because, oh shit, the original creator's getting on this, which is pretty much the saving grace. I'll put it this way: if Powerpuff Girls had the same level if the Powerpuff Girls reboot had that same level of attention, where it's a show that needed a sequel, and then on top of that, it's a show that had its original creators behind it, people wouldn't be as paranoid about it. Unfortunately, Powerpuff Girls doesn't have that luxury, and granted, Powerpuff Girls is a lot more throwaway in that sense, so Powerpuff Girls could probably survive without that, whereas Samurai Jack, you take away that original magic, you effectively crush people's hearts. And let's be honest here, as fans of cartoons, we've been getting shitted on in terms of reboots and remakes of popular old school cartoons and TV shows and movies and shit. So, Samurai Jack will be our one win, depending on how this goes. Now, for those who don't know, Samurai Jack's development was very weird because, and what I mean by that is like after it got canceled, because originally the original creator wanted to, like, if I remember correctly, make like a movie that would pretty much be the formal ending to the series, and he never got to do it. And I guess the Cartoon Network was like, oh hell, we'll let you bring it back on Toonami, which is interesting to me because it's not like they said Cartoon Network, they said Toonami, which makes me go, huh. And see, that brings up a fear of mine for Samurai Jack, and something I hope that they stay true to. And the original creator's on it, so he would know. Samurai Jack, although was serious, very serious for a Cartoon Network show, it never got insane for too long. Like, Samurai Jack had a lot of chilled, funny, ridiculous, just goofy episodes in the middle of it, while also having its serious plot lines. It also makes me wonder if Samurai Jack is actually going to get like a form, like if they're going to do an overarching storyline. Because Samurai Jack at some points became really episodic. Like there were certain points in which they had, like the biggest example to me was the whole the monkey episode where he meets these band of monkeys, and it's like the monkeys teach him how to jump high, and Samurai Jack teaches them how to defend themselves. Well, at the end of that episode, he jumps through a portal. Now we don't know where the portal goes. You could easily, because the only portal he looks for the entire series is the portal to go back in time. So the fact that he jumps into a portal makes you go, well, is that like Samurai Jack doesn't have like a strict canon. Like it was pretty obvious that at some points in the series it just deviated. Um, some episodes were just more serious than others. Most people would tell you their favorite episodes are the serious ones, even though I do like some of the goofy ones. And I hope that this new series, I'm actually curious. The one thing I wouldn't mind them going for is that they went for like an overarching story through this new series. See, that's the other thing. We don't know really too much about this. Is this a reboot? Is this a continuation? What is it? And I'm curious because if it's, and people will go, if Samurai Jack was kind of episodic, why would it need to be a continuation? Because there are certain characters that do reoccur in Samurai Jack. There aren't that many. Scotsman being the main one I'm thinking of. But like, I'm curious if they're gonna do a full-on reboot, which I don't really think they need to. You could really just continue it from where it left off, because where it left off was filler. And as I said, it's not like Samurai Jack has an overarching story. So I hope it's more of a continuation than a reboot, just because there's no point in retreading the beginning of it. To me, Samurai Jack's beginning of that show is literally like one of the best fucking things you can like watch. It's ridiculous. Like I love the way the series starts out because it sets the tone and sets the style all up, and it's like, and I believe the first few episodes are like it's like a two-parter. It's like the first half is telling the beginnings, and then the second half is telling how Jack got his name and how he ended up in the future. Well, granted, the end of the first part does that. It's besides the fucking point. You get my point. I'm stoked for this, but it all depends on how it's handled. And then a lot of people are also talking about animation style, which I'm not a huge stickler for animation. As long as if you can keep the roots of the original show in the animation, I don't mind if the animation changes. Just don't make it something completely different. To me, though, it being self-shaded in 2D animation appeals to me way more than 3D animation, primarily because, and granted, if we take the teaser for any indication of how they're going to handle the animation, if it's anything like that, I think we'll be fine. It'll be a little bit updated, but it'll essentially be about the same, which is cool because Samurai Jack works that way. Samurai Jack it's like one of my favorite Cartoon Network series, probably right up there with Courage the Cowardly Dog, because it was a show that knew when to be goofy and when to be serious, and it also had a lot of Japanese influence. So, I mean, the series is called Samurai Jack. There's a good chunk of Japanese influence in there, if not a lot. I'm very hopeful for this, and I think it will be good. It just depends on what level of good is it going to be. Is it going to be just okay, a decent sequel, or is it going to be some God tier shit? Obviously, the fanboy in me wants it to be some God tier shit, but still, I'm surprised. I'm just very surprised that Jack is getting any type of revival in 2016. Considering I think the original Samurai Jack, that shit came out back in 2001. Yeah, the original Samurai Jack only ran for like 2 years. It ran from 2001 to 2000. No, I'm lying. It ran for 3 years. It ran all the way up until 2004, and even then, its release schedule was all over the fucking place. It's just, it's nuts, man. It's fucking nuts. I'm happy to see it get the revival. I don't want them to fuck it up. That's like my core issue, and I think there's always been a nostalgia. There's always been like a '90s kids or just an '80s baby. Just the generation that grew up with this shit. Our biggest fear is do not fuck it up, and we have good things leading into it. It just depends on how they handle it. Because people want to. It always brings up the question: do you want them to just do what the original show did, but like and just modernize it, or do you want them to like try to change? And for Samurai Jack, I feel like an overarching story would work. And people would say, well, him looking for a portal to get back to the past is the overarching story. Yes, but when you reboot something, and that's it, and as I said, it depends on whether this is like a full-on reboot or if this is just a continuation. If this is a reboot, part of me doesn't even want the reboot because it's like you can't have the first series end the way it did and then go into a reboot. That's just not fair to the original series. Because then at that point, all you're going to be doing is making sure they don't fuck up anything from the original series. And it also brings up the question: does that mean you're just going to redo like all the episodes that matter, or what? As a continuation, my question then is: can you keep to the original style while bringing new shit to the table? Like, that's the whole point. If you're going to bring something back, I want new shit to the table. It just depends on what you're doing with it. Reboot, you're just going to retell shit. Whereas, as I said, Samurai Jack doesn't really need a reboot, in my opinion. Continuation is fine. But as a continuation, you got to change the style up a little bit. And that's why I would start saying you should start having little mini arcs. Have 2 or 3 parters. And they did that in the first season. Don't get me wrong here. They did that in the first season. I mean, the first series. They weren't as consistent as you may have wanted, and I want more of that. I want more like little mini story arcs that like span 2 to 5 episodes. especially if it's like really good shit that leads into it. Because like the first season was all about Aku being evil and controlling the future, and Jack having to fight through this destroyed and disturbed future to get back to the past to fix the situation that's caused. I would like if they start introducing elements that make him go, maybe I just need to defeat Aku. Maybe I don't necessarily need to destroy this future because the future is flawed, but Jack, and we saw this in the first series, there are good things about this future. It's just, it's flawed in other aspects. So, like, maybe you don't need to getting rid of Aku has to happen, but you don't necessarily have to do that in the past. Like, I would like if they start bringing in some inner turmoil stuff, because we got to see what kind of person Jack was like, but, like, we never really saw him. Oh, that's not really fair, because we have seen it. We never saw it on a larger scale, I guess is what I mean to say. We never saw, like, Jack go through inner turmoil on a large, ongoing scale. Usually, if Jack went through some shit, it was, like, for the episode. Maybe 2 episodes. And then that was about it. And that's the disadvantage of having a show that has somewhat of an episodic nature, which Jack kind of had. I mean, granted, I'm still excited for this. I'm just curious to see if it's just going to be a retelling of the story, which, I mean, you don't really need to do that. As I've said, you know what, I'm not going to repeat it. The point is, I don't know if it's going to be a retelling or a continuation. My vote's continuation. And I want to see them, I want to see the story move forward, but I also want to see here's the thing. When you're going from, like, it's been over a decade. Like, Jack finished in 2004, and it's 2016 when the series is supposed to come out. I want to see what's changed in his thought process in approaching Samurai Jack as a series. Like, is he still going to write Jack exactly the same? Because it's been about 12 years. I mean, something's changed, and I'm curious to see what has changed and what will change for the series. So I don't mind if the series changes some aspects, just keep the core. If you can keep Samurai Jack's core, certain things I don't mind changing. Also, we need Scotsman to come back because Scotsman was G. Fuck these. I love that. I love the Scotsman storylines. That was like his bro. Because like they didn't give him any other. Scotsman, I think, is the only ongoing character we saw occasionally, and it kept the continuity from the previous episodes he was in. Like the second one was the one saving his wife, and I was like, that is the funniest shit I've ever seen. I love the Scotsman. Scotsman's god tier. Fuck these. So I kind of like what hope he make more companions along the way, not just the Scotsman, and then even have like funny crossover episodes where like the Scotsman and like a new character are both in the same episode with Jack, but like they don't really get along with each other and shit. Or maybe you even use that fake ass samurai they used in that episode where they were in like, what was it? He was in the bar, and you had this black samurai that was wearing like a fake chest plate. Like everything about him was a fake, and he kind of got inspired by Jack. He went outside the challenge to a fight, got his shit rocked, and then watched Jack legitimately beat the shit out of some thugs. I think they were robots or something. And the dude got inspired by that. Like, I like to see him as a reoccurring character. And like, oh yeah, now I'm a legit. I'm becoming more legit than I was before. I like that. Like, I would like to see stuff like that carried over. But please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. This has been the Insane Game Freak. Likes the game, play to win. I'll catch you guys later. Peace, soul.